It's opening night for week number 1. I know we had a week 0, but this is the time I know I get excited. Week 1, we've got, as far as interest here, Boise and USF. That kicks off college football for the week. That's at 4:30 today, East Carolina, North Carolina State. We'll know a little bit about those American teams right off the bat. You got to pull for USF, right? If they beat Boise, the team that's already ahead of you in most of the minds of college football playoff voters would be knocked off, and then you have USF at home. Wherever you win that, you would be then in the driver's seat. So go Bulls, I guess, is the best way you can put that. Of course, the big game this week will be Texas and Ohio State. That's 1 versus 2 or 3, depending on the poll you believe in. Texas number 1 in both of the polls. We will speak in just 5 minutes to the voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way. He's going to join us to talk about all that hype. How good is Arch Manning? Well, they're taking on the defending champs at Columbus, Ohio, in the Horseshoe. I was listening to the guys, Greg, Eli, Harold Grader, all making their picks today. So many of them are believers in Texas on the road against the defending champs. And as good as Arch Manning may be, he's making a start. Now, he played some games last year. It's not like it's the first time he's going to face it. But you give me pretty much a freshman quarterback in the home of the defending champs. I don't know how you don't take the defending champs. Now, it's a Manning. I got it. But I know we're making our picks tomorrow, Landon Schmidt, but what's your gut feeling?
For me, I enjoy more experience over inexperience, and I think that's the only thing Arch really has going for him is he's played with the team. He has the camaraderie there. But also, Julian Sayin is coming into pretty much the greatest scenario on earth where all you have to do is lob the ball up to Jeremiah Smith and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And you have a great offensive line.
Or you can hand the ball off.
Or you could do that as well, but I think I heard somebody say that when it comes to Ohio State, you could say you have 2 of the greatest players in college football on both sides of the ball, and Caleb Downs on defense and Jeremiah Smith on offense. So Ohio State is a powerhouse, but I don't know. I personally I like Texas. I like Arch Manning. I mean, it's in the Manning's blood to be good quarterbacks. So I'm taking experience over inexperience to lead the team, but it is going to be a rowdy crowd. But I think we're in for a really good game regardless.
I hope so. We got both of the pregame shows, and Bill Bender just did a really nice article about Lee Corso, his farewell game day, how he changed really a lot of the way the pregame shows go and the fun that was a part of it. And we'll talk to Bill Bender after we talk to Craig. We'll end our day with Jarvis Greer. Our first coaches meeting for the UT Chattanooga game is this morning, 11:30, over on South Campus. So we'll get a better feel for the team. I'm interested in several of the storylines for this year, how they will approach with 2 great running backs and a quarterback who can also run the football, on a line that's I do wonder why C.J. Smith didn't start at Georgia when why he's not on the 2 deep. Lots of good stories, and hopefully they will all come out. I'm also curious. Back to the Ohio State game, Dave Portman, the guy who I think sold Barstool for like $500 million and then bought it back for $1, he's like the McAfee of the Fox pregame show. And they said he was banned by Ohio State because, he's a big contributor to Michigan. But I got a feeling Portnoy and Fox just said that to get more pub for their show. I'm going to see if Bill Bender knows anything about all of that. Quick notes here. Shohei Ohtani, back in form on the mound last night. We know he's been a great hitter. He had the Tommy John. He's coming back. He didn't start pitching until just about a month ago. Shohei Ohtani gets his first win, 5-1. He goes 5 innings. He threw 87 pitches. So 5 innings, that's 15 outs, correct? Out of those 15 outs, 9 strikeouts. That slider he was throwing, and they showed a great replay of it with the tracer, how that thing breaks. If you're at the plate, I don't know how you can hit that. And that's how he struck out 9 guys last night. Ohtani, Landon, looked terrific last night. And then at the U.S. Open, Alcaraz, Djokovic, Shelton, all easy wins yesterday, although Djokovic did lose the first set and then rattled it off, got into form. The big story last night is an American really known for doubles, Taylor Townsend, was playing a Latvian player named Jelena Ostapenko. Ostapenko and her got into it after Townsend won easily. The first set was very close, and in a critical moment, there was a net cord that fell Townsend's way. And apparently Ostapenko got very irritated that Townsend didn't say sorry. What? Didn't say sorry. And then afterwards said, when they went to shake hands at the net, and Townsend just killed her in the second set. But I don't think that Ostapenko ever recovered from that net cord that went against her. And so because she didn't say sorry, she called her uneducated and classless. Now she's been labeled a racist because Townsend's African-American, the Latvian is Caucasian. Townsend didn't think there was racist intent. But I think that's the worst excuse. Here's the 2 reasons she got mad and called her disrespectful. She said she didn't say sorry for the net cord, and when they went to warm up, and Townsend's really a doubles player, so she begins warm-ups at the net instead of the baseline, and apparently it's an unwritten law. You got to start your warm-ups from the baseline. I have never heard a sore loser than the Latvian, whose name is Jelena Ostapenko. Anyway, as I sit in the Family Leisure Studios reminding you this, Labor Day's here. There's gonna be a fall sale. You know that's coming. So take advantage right now of the Clear the Warehouse sale, where all the in-stock patio furniture at I-40 and Wooden Road's up to 60% off. That means a 4-piece deep setting set can go for under $1,000. If you want a chaise lounge, they're saying get the second one half price. Who doesn't buy at least 2, right? You don't buy 1 chaise lounge. If you get a wonderful state-of-the-art new patio table, they give you an umbrella. Those are not cheap. That's a free deal, and special financing available. Walk in, tell them we sent you. It's the Clear the Warehouse sale because the fall stuff's coming in at Family Leisure. We head out to Austin. He's still there. This has been a wild last month, I am sure, for Craig Way, voice of the Texas Longhorns. I was thinking about this. I know they won a title in 5. You had big names that have come through, coaching changes and all that. Has there ever been a more hyped month, 2 months, than the last ones for you, Craig Way, with Arch Manning and 1 versus 2? Good morning.
Good morning, and your brilliance shines through again, because you could probably tell there's never, at least not in the time that I've been associated with the University of Texas, and this weekend will start my 38th year on the network and my 25th in the play-by-play chair. I have never seen the anticipation, the excitement, and the hype surrounding a Longhorn football season. Now, there's several reasons for it, I think, Wolo. I mean, you start with the fact that they've come off back-to-back trips to the college football playoff. Under Steve Sarkisian, they've gone 25-5 the past 2 years.
Wow.
They have a lot of their talent coming back. But then if we're being completely honest, there's a bit of attention being focused around the guy taking the snaps this year at center. So I think all of that plays into it. But the excitement, I haven't seen it at this level. The anticipation, and normally Longhorn fans are pretty pumped up and excited about it anyway. They get pretty excited about it. But I think this year perhaps kind of even pushes beyond that.
So if we go back all the way, I mean, you were there for the for the title. That was the BCS title. You've seen
Yeah.
a lot of great quarterbacks come and go in that uniform. How good is Arch Manning?
Well, I think time will obviously tell just how good he's going to be. I would say this to you, David. He is as prepared for the moment like this as a quarterback can be. I can recall back when Vince Young, as a redshirt freshman in '03, kind of got at the helm, and I don't think he was quite ready for it, and he learned some hard lessons. And then as a sophomore, he got better and then improved during the course of the year, and they had the epic win over Michigan in that Rose Bowl as a sophomore. Then he comes back, obviously, in '05 for the landmark season to win the national title, and he had the run-up play. Arch has not had that advantage of having played an awful lot. He did start a couple of games when Quinn Ewers was out last year, and he saw some other action as well, a lot of it in mop-up duty, but not all of it. And so, but I do think this. I think that the pedigree has some influence in this. I think he's been well prepared for this by the family. And mainly on the mental and psychological side of things as well. He's always had the physical gifts and tools. And I did Steve Sarkisian's show last night, and Sark was just talking about, what people have seen from him that is real. And then beyond that, the other thing is his demeanor. He's just laid back, affable, self-deprecating, relaxed. And Sark said, there's guys, and he said, there's guys that you see, and they present that one image out there like that, and then there's something else in the locker room or something else different away from the field. He says, that's not how it is with Arch Manning. What you see is what you get and what he really is all the time. And I think all of that will serve him well, especially when you have to start off in a environment of 107 or 108,000 or ever how many they're going to have in the Horseshoe on Saturday afternoon.
There's a romance between the city of Memphis and the Mannings. Back to when Archie was at Ole Miss, and then of course Eli there, and Peyton at the University of Tennessee. And this city kind of claims we're the second city behind New Orleans, I guess, or Oxford, somewhere in there with the Mannings. Which of the Mannings? Is it Archie? Because not just the name, but he can run like his grandfather could. Or is he more like Peyton? Is he more like Eli? Cooper's his father, who couldn't play because of injury, but he's pretty funny and smart. I don't think that stuff's a facade. They're all like laid off and laid back and confident. But which of the Mannings do you think Arch is most like?
I think he's got some of all of them in him. I think he really does. If you look at his uncles, I think he probably has a lot of the arm strength that Peyton had and the leadership skills on the field. I think he's got those tools as well from Eli and the self-deprecating part of that. But if you ask Sark, he'll say this is his words. He said it again last night. He said, Arch is most like his grandpa, is what he said. That's the way he described it. He said, obviously, he's got the wheels. He's got, what is it, coaches like to say, functional mobility. So he's got that. But he's very athletic, more so. And Sark has said this from the start. He said, he got most of his athletic genes from his grandfather, not his uncles, in terms of his athletic skill and talent. So he's got all of those things. But I think there's a little bit of all of the Mannings. And if you ask Arch, I think he says he gets a lot of his demeanor and his style and things like that from his mom, and so I think all of those things kind of factor into it. I think he's got a little bit of all of that in him.
You were around for that '05 BCS championship. Texas is number one in both bowls this year. Can you compare this team from the one 20 years ago?
The one 20 years ago had more veteran influence, especially in the interior lines. Obviously, we talked about Vince Young being a returning starter he started to start during that redshirt freshman year, but really mainly emerged in his sophomore season. And so by the time he was that redshirt junior, he had a lot of starts under his belt and had won a Rose Bowl and all of those kinds of things before he even embarked on that national championship. So there are some experience elements there. Now, they also had some young guys. We had Jamal Charles on the show with us last night. And, of course, he was a freshman on that 05 national championship team. So they had some freshmen who really contributed. This team has, I think, a good mixture of some of the young guys who will contribute, and Arch is obviously in that group, but they've got some veteran guys as well. It's funny, well, the way things have changed, and you've seen it as well over college football over the past 20 years, over the past score of years, the 20 years, that freshmen and redshirt freshmen, if they're not starting, a lot of the times coaches are expecting them to contribute in some way, shape, or form and get some significant snaps. This Texas offensive line has only one returning starter, DJ Campbell. However, the rest of the group has had hundreds of snaps in rotation. They played an awful lot. Trevor Gooseby, who will start at left tackle, had to start 2 games, including the SEC championship game last year in Atlanta, while Kelvin Banks was nursing a sore ankle. So they've got a lot of experience in that. The defense, I think, has the chance to be better than that 05 defense. They have 3 preseason All-Americans, Colin Simmons, an edge rusher who's only going into a sophomore season, Anthony Hill at linebacker, and then Michael Taft kind of quarterbacking the secondary. So they're strong up the middle, that central nervous system of the defense. So this defense has a chance to be better if they can continue in the mixture of some of the younger guys who are now flowing into that defense, mixes well and contributes with the veterans.
Along the lines of all these newcomers, and you mentioned how many new players there are on the Texas defensive side. I think this is true for all of college football. I've said this already. Because there are so many new portal faces and really a lack of chemistry, some of these guys didn't show up till fall, some were there for spring. It used to be said that your biggest improvement would be from week 1 to week 2. You want to get a little better every week after that, but that's the big jump. I think it's game 3 or 4 now, which makes all these early games like LSU, Clemson, Alabama, Florida State, even Auburn, Baylor, all these early games like Texas and Ohio State, these are all new teams. It's almost weird they're playing them so early.
Yeah, I give you another one, Notre Dame, Miami.
Oh, yeah.
First time ever in the AP preseason poll era, which began in 1950. Not only is it the first time ever for Texas to be a preseason number 1, and I know that took a lot of people by surprise, but they've never been number 1 in the preseason poll. But the other thing is there have never been 3 top 10 matchups in week 1 of preseason top 10 AP teams like there is this year. There's 3 top teams. You mentioned LSU, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, Miami. There are 3 top 10 matchups. That's never happened before. And then there's a slew of other ones. You brought up, obviously, the Alabama-Florida State game. There's some other games like that register on the radar as big matchups. So I think it is a byproduct of all the things you talked about with the transfer portal and NIL and the way roster building has gone. Now, I will tell you this. The Texas mission is still to primarily work it through recruiting and getting the best high school football talent, certainly in the state of Texas and wherever else they can find it as well. They got a young man who will play an awful lot at running back, might even start on Saturday, named C.J. Baxter. And he had a really good freshman year and then had a knee injury in fall camp last year, missed all of last season. So Trey Wisner picks up the slack. He rushes for over 1,000 yards. Well, now Wisner's a junior, Baxter's a sophomore. I think they're going to go with a 2-headed monster on that. But to your point, with the portal, they lost a really good tight end in Gunnar Helm, who of course is with the Titans, and they plugged in another one, a Cal transfer named Jack Endries, who is on the preseason award watch list, not only for the Mackey Award, the tight end, but even the Biletnikoff Award for the best overall receiver. So the Texas way of doing it The way Sark likes to approach it is plug a hole here and there to supplement and mix in while maintaining the integrity of your recruiting base and you know this is an important thing, roster retention through what you get through NIL.
Yeah, that's the big one now. If you're
Yeah.
good, you got to keep your guy. You guys set up really well, I thought, schedule-wise. Even if the Longhorns were to lose this game, they can recover. That's the beauty of the first game. Do you like the way it sets up? I mean, I look. You got Georgia, you got A&M. Those are probably A&M's always going to be a rival game. Probably Arkansas too for you guys when they come up with this new schedule. But you don't play LSU. You don't play Alabama. You don't play Ole Miss. You don't play Tennessee. You don't play South Carolina. Some people think that's a real dark horse team. You think you guys get the break on the SEC schedule?
Well, because it is the back half of the 2-year scheduling formula that they did starting last year, there is some advantage that now having to go to Athens obviously isn't going to be easy.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned the rivalry games. A&M is at home, Arkansas is at home, and then by the way, there's that game in Dallas,
Right.
in October. And I think that a lot of folks look at Oklahoma in much the same way they view South Carolina. Dangerous, dark horse, all of those kinds of things. Sooners are going to have a really good running game and a very good defense. They've got some other questions as well, but I still think they're going to be really good. But the schedule does set up for them. And here's another thing to keep in mind, Wolo. They start with Ohio State, and as you so correctly pointed out, this is not going to be a crippler for either side, win or lose. The winning team is going to be kind of in that NASCAR vernacular of when you're out front of the pack running with clean air. The team that drops that game, however, is not going to be anywhere near out of the playoff picture in this modern era of the 12-team playoff. So I think both coaches know it, that both Ryan Day and Sark have talked about that this week, saying it's a good measuring stick of where the programs are and what they need to do before they get to the next game. So, the next 3 games after that for Texas are all at home. They're all non-conference, certainly winnable games against San Jose State and then UTEP, and then after that, Sam Houston. So they play those 3 games before they open SEC play. And here's another good test. They have to open in Gainesville at Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
So while there's not an LSU on that schedule, there is Florida on the road. There's Georgia on the road. We've seen Kentucky be dangerous at night at home. They've got to go there. Vanderbilt gave Texas a tough time last year. The game this year is in Austin. But there are plenty of tests on that schedule, and I think that's going to be the way of the SEC. You mentioned they go into the 9 games in conference play, and Greg Sankey, the commissioner, was very adamant about how the mandate is going out to the schools to make sure you schedule at least one Power 5, Power 4 opponent in non-conference play. Well, Texas already has that covered. They got Ohio State with a return game at home next year. Then Michigan, the return game from last year's contest in Ann Arbor, comes in 27. They've got a home-and-home with Notre Dame in 28 and 29, and then Arizona State, I believe, in 30 and 31. So through the rest of the decade, they check those boxes, but Sark says they're going to continue to look at other possible games like that.
Play them all, baby. Play them
Yeah.
all. 30 seconds. Tell me how it unfolds tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow I'll get on a plane.
I mean Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah. Trench play will have a lot to do with it. Ohio State has replaced its defensive front, but like the Texas offensive front, they have a lot of guys who played a lot of snaps in rotation. So I think that old thing about running the ball and stopping the run, I think the mobility of Arch gives Texas a dimension they did not have with Quinn Ewers. And so if they can do that and get some stops and slow down, and they've got to cover Jeremiah Smith, as we know. And they did a pretty good job against him in the Cotton Bowl last year. They just couldn't stop some of the other guys. So if they can do those things, then they've got a good shot to win.
All right. Safe trip on that plane tomorrow. And we'll try to listen in on your broadcast on Saturday. Fun time.
Hey,
tonight.
Great to visit with you as always, and good luck to the Tigers this year, too.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll come to Austin for a playoff game. That might be fun. Thank you much.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. That's Craig Way. He's the voice of the Longhorns. He's got a busy day, a big Saturday. coming up. We're going to talk more about that with Bill Bender from the Sporting News when we return in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Everywhere I go, I take my laptop with me, and I happen to be coming through Memphis. We had a big show that night, and I just recorded a gem of a song on my laptop. And what do you know, the whole thing crashes. I lost this brand new song, and of course I didn't remember it because I was blackout drunk. So I heard about Cooper Systems. I took my computer over to Cooper Systems, and they were able to save everything. All the live footage, all the work I have done. I tell you, Lee and Lauren Cooper are the best at saving computers. So if your computer crashes, don't fret, my love. Go to Cooper Systems. You can find them on the web at coopersystems.com or call them at 360-9679. I tell you what, Lee, Lauren, and I are going to party like rock stars tonight because I owe them $1 million. But they don't charge $1 million there, mate. And you know what? They even have new and used computers there too. So if you need to get your little ladder computer, hop in there and get you a used computer. If you need to upgrade your Apple or get you a brand new HP or something along those lines, coopersystems.com. I tell you what, I'll be back in Memphis again, and when I do, I'll go see Lee and Lauren at Cooper Systems.
Here's what sets NST Law apart. They don't just work in Memphis, they ride for Memphis. From school fundraisers to courtroom battles, they show up where it matters. And when someone in this city gets hurt, NST goes toe-to-toe with insurance giants. No fear, no favors. It's not just the law to them, it's loyalty. And if you ever need backup after a crash, NST's got your back. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or check out nstlaw.com.
Save big during Labor Day at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, buy more to get up to an additional 20% off. Shop even more savings with 3 Stay Green 1 cubic foot vegetable and flower garden soil bags for $10. This Labor Day, take care of your home for less at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 9/3. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Hey, Mid-South, if you're looking for a new ride at a great price, you know we got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike, and they all come equipped with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. 2025 Kia K4 LXS, we got it $185 a month, 39 MPG highway. How about 2025 Kia K5 GT line, we got it $245 a month. And 2025 Kia Sportage LX Hybrid, Gossett Kia on the Pike's got it at $295 a month. All $49.99 do it signing, 24-month lease. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Hurry to Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
K4 LXS SE 177,230 MSRP 24,465. K5 GT line S5 31,3320 MSRP 29,780. Sportage S7 21,7285 MSRP 32,810. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA. Excludes TTNL with approved credit. Dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/2/2025.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show, right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Gabe Woloshin.
Let's head to Columbus, Ohio from the Sporting News. College football writer Bill Bender joins us now. Good morning, Bill. I guess you got a game Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah, I might have to go park over there now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of excitement around here in Columbus. Now, what does it mean? I don't know. 20 years ago, Ohio State and Texas played up here, and I mean, it's one that my buddies, all of us know where we were at. It was the one where Vince Young led a late touchdown drive, and I told Mac Brown on the phone the other day, I was like, some of my friends can still hear that pin drop. So anytime you get those two brands in the same building, it's going to be a lot of fun.
That was the year that the Longhorns went on to win the national title.
And a lot of Ohio State fans feel like if they get that stop, they're the one that goes and beats USC. And that's what made it
So the difference now is, and you kind of heard Sark and Day talk about it this week in their pressers, is, yeah, it's huge, and it's great for college football. What an opener. It's awesome. I don't think the playoff committee is going to penalize either one of these teams, no matter what happens on Saturday. And I kind of like that, but it also isn't the same kind of magnitude, to me at least, that it was 20 years ago.
Well, I think that's the beauty of all these great opening games. With 12 teams and probably 16 in the near future, you can always recover if you lose to a great team on opening day. You've literally got 11 or 12 games to right the ship, and I suspect the loser of this game will do just that.
Yeah, I think plenty of time. Now, who has the tougher path after a loss? That would be Texas. They got to go to Georgia this year. They got to go to Florida to go through the rigors of the SEC conference. And whereas for Ohio State, we've become accustomed to this over the years. Yes, they have other games. They got to play Penn State. They got to beat Michigan for the first time in 5 years. But I do think they would have you lose to Texas, you go turn around and go 8-1 in the Big Ten. Play my alma mater, Ohio, in a couple weeks. But you get what I'm saying. A 10-2 Ohio State team's still going to get in just like they did last year.
Well, Texas has Georgia in Athens, and they do have Oklahoma. That's a neutral, really. In Dallas, they've got A&M. That's a rivalry game, but they don't have to play Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina. So I don't know. You guys do have Michigan and Penn State. That would certainly right your ship, and I would suspect you'd be big favorites with every other game that you play. What do you think happens tomorrow?
I think it's going to be 31-24 Ohio State, but I was at Ohio State's practice last night talking to several of my writer friends that have been around that beat, and they kind of got the sense that there's a feeling it'll be a little bit lower scoring. A lot of people are going to pick lower scoring games. Maybe it's because we have two new quarterbacks, Julian Say and Arch Manning. Maybe it's because both teams have a lot of really good defensive players. Last year this game was kind of a little bit of a fist fight where there were penalties and they got in their own way a little bit. But, and when you talk about settling in, but I don't know. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to be fine. I think Julian Sand will play well. I think Arch will play well. The expectations for Arch are unfair, but that comes with the last name and the uncles and all that thing. But I think they'll both play well. I got the Buckeyes winning 31-24.
That's 55 points. Woo! I'm a little surprised at that total. I would think it would be under, but I would love that game if that's the way it comes to be. You wrote a beautiful story about Lee Corso, his final game with the headgear tomorrow in the Horseshoe. You go back to, he had a perfect season. I didn't remember this. I guess that might have been the first year he was putting the headgear on. I'm not sure. But do you think, as you did all the research for this, do you think he changed the way people watch pregame shows? And it started with Fowler, now it's Reese Davis, and of course, Kirk Herbstreit has been instrumental in all of that. Do you believe that changed the way we approach pregame shows?
Yes. I think it changed college football, honestly, because before game day, and I still think to some extent the sport is like this, it was a regional sport. I'm going to be honest, man. Growing up in Ohio and in Big Ten country, I didn't care about the ACC growing up. You didn't care about the SEC. I think they made everybody care about everything. And the headgear did. And I talked to Chris Felica about this, and he said, after that season, where they started the headgear and the access, and it was growing in popularity, you had campuses kind of fighting to get game day there. And I do remember that era. And, you learned to care more about the SEC. And then with the BCS and the playoff era, you started watching those games a lot closer and those rivalries. And I'm at least open about that. There's still things, I've been doing college football writer sport in these 15 years, and I'm still learning things about the SEC and ACC that that you grew up knowing intrinsically about the Big Ten growing up here. Like I explained to people that the Illabuk, which is that turtle that Illinois and Ohio State play for is a big deal up here, and people look at me like I have two heads. But that's what we understand.
I think you're right. I think it did change the way we cared more about all aspects of college football than just our own league. So I give ESPN a lot of credit for that. You're right. I remember when game day was here, all the different hoops and ladders and everything else you had to go through to satisfy what ESPN demands in order to have a show like that in your city. It's pretty impressive. Now, you've had a lot of hype on this game, no question. It's a 1 versus 2. You've also had some controversy. Fox has a pregame show. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. They needed an element they didn't have, which has become Pat McAfee for ESPN. So they wanted a guy like that, and they went and got Dave Portnoy from Barstool, who sold Barstool for $500,000, $500 million, and then bought it back for $1. I mean, he's an incredible character. But he said he was banned because he's a Michigan supporter from getting into the horseshoe. Is that true? Is this all hype they made up to promote their game day stuff? What do you think?
Well, from the Ohio State side, I just know that that there is no ban in place, from what I've been told. Dave's going to do what he does. I was yesterday. I was like, Dave Portnoy hasn't done anything close to hurting Ohio State like Charles Woodson and Desmond Howard have, and those guys have been in the stadium plenty of times since. So, I think I don't get into the pregame show drama as much, only to say that there are aspects of both shows I really do enjoy. I love Urban Meyer in the studio, by the way. I think he's great. Very done it. Urban and Saban are the two best guys I like listening to. And by no consequence, they're two of the highest winning percentages of any college football coaches. So I think you listen to them and enjoy that. And, Corso is going to get this farewell. It's a big deal because of the contributions. I did another piece for the FWA that, like Steve Spurrier and Frank Beamer and those, they were saying that he was Coach Corso. And that was an underrated part of his career that he's not known for, but he was one of those guys at Indiana. Some of those stories are wild about how he made it fun.
Yeah, he when he was with Louisville, lost a game here. It's 50-something to nothing. Billy Murphy was the coach of the University of Memphis, and Lee Corso has always held the university accountable for that. He came out waving a white flag at the end of the game.
That's what I was going to say. Is that waving the Mac Brown told me that story. He said that waved the white flag at the hash mark, and I was wondering if that was true, and it sounds like it 100%
Oh, it's true.
is.
Absolutely true. Yeah. No, that was a great story. This week, or last week, the SEC decided they're going to go to 9 games. That was something that the Big Ten really wanted. Are you surprised the Greg Sankey group acquiesced? And what do you think the Big Ten now has to agree to?
No, they just need to drop the automatic qualifier thing and probably rally behind a 5-11 plan for the 16-teamer, which is what people, I think, are clamoring for anyway. I think the SEC really helps themselves here. Now, on one end, you're going to say strength of schedule. We're going to do all this arguing about it. I do think the SEC has tough schedule, toughest places to play, most ranked teams, most teams that are probably playoff caliber on any given year. I mean, that's fact. So they help themselves here. I think, one thing about that schedule that I really like is that they play 3 protected teams and then 6 on a rotating basis. Whereas, so if you were a 4-year player, you get to play everywhere in the SEC. I think it's an advantage over playing in an 18-team league where you might, Ohio State fans, they haven't been to Iowa in a while. You know what I mean? So
right.
I think that's something to keep in mind. But, yeah, the Big Ten probably have to drop this idea of 4 automatic qualifiers and play-in games, and let's just go to 16 with a model that makes sense. And I think the SEC, that was the domino that, to me, that's like a tip-off. Once you see that, it's like, okay, they're getting closer.
I tend to think that's the way it's going to go as well. All right, Monday, last thing. You got TCU and North Carolina. I'm curious, do you think Bill Belichick turns it around in Chapel Hill?
I don't know, but I know that probably of all these games that we're going to watch this weekend, including the one I'm at, I'm going to be most fascinated by finding out the answer to that one. Because I know Ohio State and Texas are good, and I know LSU and Clemson are good, and I know Notre Dame and Miami is going to be a fun game, but I don't know what to expect from Bill Belichick and a roster with 70 transfers and Gio Lopez at quarterback, underdog against TCU. Is it going to be a complete disaster? Is it going to be, the Patriots at their height? I have no idea. So that's why I was saying if they win Monday, there's your biggest reaction of the weekend. Because a lot of people on this holiday weekend are going to be out on Saturday. By Tuesday, they're going to be like, Saturday was 96 hours ago or whatever. Belichick's Monday night. And I think that could create a large reaction if they win.
I'm with you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Labor Day as well. We'll do this again next Thursday. Thank you so much, Bill.
Hey, anytime, Wolo. Thanks for having me on, man. Take care.
That is Bill Bender from the Sporting News. We take a quick break. When we come back, downtown we go. The Hall of Famer standing by. We talk Tiger football with Jarvis Greer right around the corner.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
I passed by a new barbecue restaurant on the way in today that wasn't a Central Barbecue.
Now, why would you do that?
Exactly my point. In a city that already has plenty of Central Barbecue, the best barbecue in the universe, why would somebody think that we need a different barbecue restaurant?
Not only in Memphis, there's Central Barbecue in South Haven.
Right. Central Barbecue. Again, the bestest barbecue anywhere is already somewhere near anyone listening to this commercial. If somebody wants to open a restaurant, open a sushi place.
Or one of those Mongolian beef places.
Or a place that specializes in things made with bananas.
Not just barbecue.
Not in a city that already has Central Barbecue.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back. Final segment. We're going downtown to talk to our good friend, the Hall of Famer, Jarvis Greer. He's brought to you in part by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken and his family, over 80 years now, building dream homes throughout the marketplace. Started with Ken Sr., now Junior's been running it for a while, and now they've got William in the business, a third generation, where they all know about quality. They all know about commitment. They all know the job's not done until really way after it's done. They're with you if anything goes wrong. Bill, Ken himself will tell you on his spot, if 6 months after the job is done, something's not totally right, they're right back there. That's the way they work. They see little details, big picture all at once. It's not just if you're building a brand new dream home. If you love your lot, you don't want to move, but you want all the new modern amenities, the media room, the California closets, they have the expertise. They call it renovation. I call it renovation with innovation. Make your older home a modern palace. The place to do it, Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. So we head downtown, And Jarvo joins us now. You ready for Saturday? We're about to meet in about 45 minutes with the coaches for the first time. Another year.
Another year. Here we go. And another year of greatness for Memphis Tiger football, going for the, 12th straight season, going to a bowl game, right?
Right. You realize they have the fourth best home record in the country over the last 4 years. I think Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia are the top three, and Memphis is 4.
Yeah, and did not lose a game at home last year. You go to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, the Sim, which there is now, you can't call it the Liberty Hole anymore because the tower is coming up and it looks really good. If you go to the Sim to watch a game that the Tigers play, chances are you're going to see a win, and that's true this year as it was last year, just as true. Because fortunately for Memphis, it was a tough thing last year. All the toughest games were on the road. This year, you got all your toughest opponents at home, and so that means a good home crowd, a great home crowd, sold out stadium to see the Tigers play. That looks good on paper, it looks good to TV networks, and it looks good to all those who might be interested, if you know what I mean.
The Too Deep on Monday was released.
Yeah.
What was your first impression when you saw it?
Well, everybody was talking about, wow, that receiver for Purdue, C.J. Smith, wasn't on. He wasn't even on the depth chart.
Right.
And so that was that was the big question. And we go to Coach Silverfield's Monday Newser, and he says he's been battling some injuries. He battled injuries at Purdue. That's probably why, Memphis was able to get him because, okay, I don't know if we can depend on you. But hopefully, he'll get better and, be able to get on the field. I'm not worried about it right now because, you're playing Chattanooga, Georgia State first couple of games. I would be worried about it if he's not on the depth chart by the time we get to the meat of the schedule.
The defensive side amazed me because, first off, there's not a Memphis kid on there. That's the first time. That's a starter.
Yeah.
First time I can remember that. Secondly,
a long time.
Secondly, there's only one returner. That's William Whitlow. We know is really good preseason all conference. But
yeah, and it was a big get to get him to stay because all the big boys basically were after him, and they threw some money his way. But Coach, fortunately, thanks to Fred X and everybody else involved, they were able to keep him in the fold. And he said, "I'm going to finish what I started. Started as a Tiger, going to stay a Tiger." And he's back in the fold with some new names that everybody. We're all going over the Too Deep depth chart, and we're all got our fingers and our cards out with numbers on them, trying to match the numbers with the names now.
Well, the linebackers intrigue me because that's been the heart and soul of a Jordan Hankins defense. And you got your starters from Nevada, Virginia Tech, and UAB.
I'm really impressed with Sam Brumfield from Virginia Tech. He looks like the real deal. He had great numbers coming in from a power program, Power 4 conference team of the ACC and Virginia Tech. The kid from UAB, you think, wow, UAB, they were terrible. Yeah, they were bad as a team, but they did have some individual good players. And is Russo? Is it Russo or Rousseau?
I think it's
I'm
Russo.
still kind of.
I think it's Russo. I don't know. We'll find out today. I think it's Everett Rousseau.
Yeah, they were really impressed. They've really been impressed with him. And it's going to be tough because that linebacking core last year was pretty good, led by one Chandler Martin, who came out of nowhere. Out of
he came out of UT Martin.
UT Martin, that's right. Came out of there to come up and go up a couple of notches to play at Memphis and then be an all-conference performer. And so if they find a couple of guys like that out of this new group, I think Memphis will be in good position at the linebacker spot. And as you said, Jordan Hankins' defense is predicated on the linebackers doing damage. So let's hope these guys can.
One other story, and I'm really interested in what Ryan's got to say about this, but you're going to have a punter who comes from this program in Australia, which has, Tom Hornsey was one of the first products, and now he's involved in that program.
Yes.
Pro
Kick Australia.
But you're talking about a kid who's never punted in a football game in his life. This Lachlan Kerrigan. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, an Australian punter with an Irish name, right? Lachlan Kerrigan. And But, I think punting, like everything with kickers is like these guys, you just leave them alone, let them go do what they do. The lights will be on for the first time. It'll be a real game. The first punch you got to watch, but after that, I think he'll be okay. And watching his form in practice, and he booms the ball out of there, and he's got really good hang time. So hey, go ahead. The one that the Tigers really need to have is the place kicker and your field goal kicker, because
Gianni
that was an adventure.
Yeah.
Spettick. Yeah, and he's out of Ohio, I think.
Yeah.
And that's like his numbers were really good there. And kickers can play anywhere. They could be Division III, they can be Division I. It really, really doesn't matter as long as the ball goes through the uprights. And they're putting their faith in this guy because kicking was an adventure last year for Memphis. How many kickers did the Tigers trot out there? 3 on the field goal kicking unit. They tried 3 kickers out there before they finally decided on one to end the year.
And only one of those guys is back, Tanner Gillis, so I think this is at least his 5th year.
Yeah, Tanner Gillis out of DeSoto Central, I believe. So, or I know he's from DeSoto County. So
Lewisburg High School.
Lewisburg, that's it. Yeah. So there we go. I think the kicking game will be fine. It's been, even with the struggles with field goal kicking last year, the kicking game was still a good spot for Memphis. So I think it may need to be a little bit better though this year for the Tigers to do what they want to do.
It starts with Chattanooga, 3:30 on Saturday. But then after that, give me the games you are most looking forward to, and I am sure Arkansas in Week 4 is high on the list.
Well, everybody's looking forward to that Arkansas game because, it's a Power 4 opponent. It's the SEC. It's your next-door neighbor, basically, right across the river. And, I mean, the school's a long, long way away, but the state's right across the river. And it's like one of those, okay, this is a proving ground for you. And Arkansas, this is kind of a make-or-break year for their coach over there. But they've got some talent. That quarterback, he's like 6'5", 6'6". We saw him in the Liberty Bowl, and he can move, he can run and throw, and he's scary all by himself. No matter what else Arkansas can do, he's going to be able to put up some numbers. So that's going to be a bellwether test for the Tigers. Other games on the schedule. Well, one game later in the season that I'm looking at is East Carolina, at East Carolina. They made a bowl game last year. They got in a dogfight with NC State, who they play tonight, I believe.
Right. Tonight, right, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, in a backdoor brawl. I think they won that game, didn't they? Didn't they beat NC State 26-21 or something other like that? And then they had a big, huge fight afterwards. So it'll probably be another one tonight, which will be fun to see. And East Carolina has slowly been getting better, back to what they used to be when they were really, really good. So that's a game that's on the road that that you have to circle. Also, Tulane. Tulane, that's a little bit, I think that's before the East Carolina game. Tulane is the team that the pundits are picked to win the conference. And they got the quarterback in from BYU, but, they didn't really say that much about him in camp, if he's going to be the one that starts this season or not. We'll find out this weekend. But, they look to be good again. And then, of course, the closer against Navy on Thanksgiving night at the Liberty Bowl at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. That could be for the who's going to go to the conference championship game, or maybe both those teams will be in there.
The thing I love most about this is really the hardest of the games. You're not playing UTSA. You've got Tulane, you've got Navy, you've got USF all at home, and with that Arkansas game, I think this is a great home schedule. Honestly, I really do. We've heard. Poor schedules. That's part of the reason the folks haven't shown up. If you got an SEC school here, and you've got the best of your conference games. And look, this football league is good. It's not the basketball league. The basketball league's not very good. The football league and the American is good. It's the best of the group of 5.
And you remember now they won the American won all of they only lost one bowl game last year and had the best record of any conference in the bowls. So, that includes the Tigers beating up on a Big 12 team, West Virginia.
Tigers have beaten a Power 4 team, I think, each of the last, is it 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, we got to keep that streak going.
Yeah.
But the main thing, Dave, out of this whole exercise, all right, yeah, everybody's looking for. The Tigers could be good. We'll find out. They got a lot of new players. The thing is, we got to get butts in the seats, man. If you want this team to go where you want it to go, you got to care enough to get a ticket, get a friend, get them a ticket, get some kids, and go out there to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium and watch this team play in person. Because TV, they love full stadiums. They don't want to see a half-empty stadium. It's, the Tigers only can put like 34,000 in there right now while their stadium's under construction, but it ought to be that way every single game if you want, because you can't say, hey, I think I heard Dr. Ed Scott, the athletic director, say, hey, look, everybody wants us to be in a better situation, but that starts now. You got to make yourself get there. You got to work to get yourself there. You can't wait until, okay, I'll wait till they get there and then play, all these teams. No, man, you got to work to get there. Look what Louisville did. Louisville was in this position, several years ago after the old Metro fell apart. They were wanting to get in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they did everything they could. And they're in a tougher position than Memphis because not only are they surrounded by the SEC, they're surrounded by the Big Ten. And they put butts in seats every game in a crappy ass stadium. I have to say, remember old Fairground Stadium in Louisville?
The Papa John's, which was built when they got into the ACC, is a Cadillac of stadiums. We're out of time, my friend. Buy tickets, as you just said. There are tickets available, 3:30 Saturday. It's going to be gorgeous. I'll see you in a few minutes, Jarvis. We'll see all of you tomorrow. Landon and I, we're going to make our picks to begin with. Then we've got Glenn Rogers on high school football. We've got Andy Schiffman on the NBA. And we will end our week with Jason Munz. It'll be a big day tomorrow. We'll see you then. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everyone.